Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello! How's everybody out there doing? Hope everybody's having a great week so far. You know, of course, I upload these on Mondays. So hopefully, kind of, have a little something to look forward to, right? So, as most of you may or may not know, I was hosting sort of like this little photography challenge that honestly I kind of just did mainly because I thought it would be fun to do. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of create some engagement or some, hey, I'm still here. Not really, but just something kind of fun to do. And so I thought about that challenge. So it was something that I did as like, okay, well, let's see if, let's just see. Let's do it. We'll just see where it goes or where it doesn't go. That's okay, which is totally fine. I just double checked all of the hashtags and stuff like that. I didn't see anything. I think a few people were just using it as a hashtag or something like that. I don't think that was a submission. Somebody like took a photo of their long range lens and used the hashtag, which I thought was pretty cool, but it wasn't like a, hey, here's my shot or something like that. And honestly, I didn't really expect many people to use the hashtag just because it's very, very niche. So that topic that I was talking about, like your long range lens and your macro photography for sure isn't really like a popular thing that everybody's doing per se. So I kind of just figured, well, you know what? I'll try it out, see what happens, see where it goes, if it goes anywhere. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that challenge, and there will probably be more challenges to come in the future. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just really fun because I kind of like, I don't know, it kind of got me sort of back into, of course, I want to do macro photography. It's going to take a little bit of time, but just because there are a few things that I probably need to buy, because I'd rather do macro photography on my Sony camera. And see, right now, I don't really have anything macro for that. So I don't know, maybe I'll dust off the old Nikon, even though Patrick, my fiance, has been using it, and he's been having a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. It'll probably be in the future, maybe next year. I don't know. We'll just see where it goes. But of course, I'll be having fun with it. But anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and touch on that. That challenge is done. It's closed. You can still use the hashtag if you want to. It was a hashtag that I made. I don't think anybody had made that hashtag before. I'll probably continue to use it here and there. But yeah, I kind of like dug up some of my old sort of like photos that were kind of macro. Some of them were basically going the macro route. Some of them were kind of just like a crossover sort of, So and it got me actually like really wanting to get back into all of that. And that's the reason why I created the challenge. And that's the reason why I made the I want to learn macro photography video and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes, right? Also, as you can tell, I do not have coffee just because it's 11:30. I've already had my coffee this morning and I was wanting to kind of like wake up this morning and do an episode or two, but yeah, I kind of already had my coffee. And I didn't want to drink another cup of coffee, even though I only had 1 cup. Usually I try not to go over 2 cups. So, yeah, that's the reason why I don't have a coffee cup in my hand. It was just a little fun idea, basically. So, today's episode I want to do on photography, basically as a portal, per se, I guess. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it. Basically, I think I've talked about before what I thought makes a great photo altogether, whether it's black and white, color, doesn't matter. What do you think makes not just a good photo, not just oh, well, I captured that. It looks great. That's great. I mean, like a photo that you look at and you can feel the energy. You can feel that moment in time. And honestly, I think that's, in a nutshell, what makes a good photo. Whether it's black and white, doesn't matter. So, I think I've talked about before, maybe in a past episode, or maybe I was just talking to someone, but basically, as a photographer, what you're doing is the pause button to life, right? So you're capturing that moment in time. You're capturing those people getting married. You're capturing someone's birthday party. Whatever it is, or maybe you're just capturing nature and what you saw and this amazing sunset or whatever, or at the beach, something like that. In a nutshell, and I never really thought about it like this, you're not just capturing souls and you're not just pouring yourself into your craft. You're capturing energy. And again, it's not just about capturing an image. I may have talked about this before, and maybe I'll talk about it in a future episode, but whatever your craft is, yes, if you love it and if you feel passionate about it, you are going to pour yourself, your heart and your soul into that for sure. But you're really going to capture, like I said, that energy, that those people celebrating and when those people look back at those photos 20 plus years down the road, they'll be able to go back in time and be like, "Oh my God," like that's what I think makes a great, amazing image. Not just a great image, but an amazing image is if you can send that person back in time and really feel that mood, the celebration, maybe, the smell of flowers or whatever it was, So, yes. And you know me, I jotted down a few things just to kind of focus on some things here. Maybe some things to think about and stuff like that. So, okay, number one, first and foremost, if you aren't feeling it that day, or if you woke up, you're not feeling great, but you got a photo shoot that, someone booked and stuff like that, you're probably not going to have a good time. Your photos, your work is just going to be off. I think we've all experienced that before. Like, just trying to push through and, well, this person booked me. I gotta be on. I gotta be there. I can't. It would look bad if you were the one to be like, look, we're gonna have to rebook this session. Like, nobody does that. Whew. All right, I'm back again. Hopefully that'll be the only other cut. Mom life, right? Am I right? No, I'm kidding. And I'm gonna try not to say I think in my life update video, our episode, I keep saying video too, episode, I was like, blah, 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 blah. It really gets on my nerves. And I'm like, if it gets on my nerves, it's definitely going to get on whoever else is watching's nerves or listening their nerves, So, anyways, let's get back. We'll reel it back in. So yes, if you're off, it doesn't matter if you're doing a photo shoot or if you're going to work or whatever. If you wake up for work in the morning and your morning, like maybe you're rushing, maybe you're just trying to do too much, because I'm definitely guilty of that. I try to do way too much in a little short amount of time. And being a mom and stuff like that, I know I'm going off subject for a second. Motherhood is definitely teaching me to slow down. Like, you can't do everything in a week or one day, So, anyways, if you're off, it's going to show through your photos and whatever work you're doing. If you're a videographer, if you're a photographer, all the ographers is going to show. I guarantee 100%. I bet you 100% you are on, like, let's say you, again, had a photo shoot, right? You still pushed through, you still arrived, and you were there. Maybe I try to be there before my client, so that way, it just looks professional. You want to look as professional as you possibly can, especially, working for yourself and stuff like that. Like, even if you were working for someone else, you would show up early. Like, that's just what you do, So, usually I'm early, like at least 15, maybe 30 minutes earlier than the client. Most of the time, it's that way I can, like, if we're going to a park or something like that, I can kind of get down a few areas. Like, I usually try to do a walkthrough or whatever the case is of where I'd like to kind of do some of the photos and all that. So, yes. So if you show up, even if you're early and you did everything how you normally do it, you took the photos and, when you look back at it, you're like, well, yeah, I did kind of have a good time, but I was still just not feeling it. I still was a little off. And then you get home to edit. I put edit in quotations because I don't really edit my photos anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Especially now that I'm a mom, I haven't done a photo shoot in probably about a year, maybe going on 2 years. Just because I stopped doing photography definitely 2023. So yeah, it's been 2 years. I stopped because life got in the way. I'm just gonna it's a long reason why I stopped. Anyways, that's a different video. But I've done a few photo shoots before, or even like a wedding. I think I've done maybe one wedding that I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling good. I don't know, maybe I was going through something in my life at the time. It's been a long time ago. And I got home. I think I took probably 1,000 or so photos. I don't think I did video. I think I just did some photos, and like the lighting was off. I was like, these are just not, like, I had a couple, like a few in the mix. That was like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't feel too bad about, giving that. But like the whole thing was off. And the reason why is because I was off. And so my point being is if your intention, so this is called, or what I'm naming it, intention before the lens. So, okay, I'll read my little bullet points and then I'll sort of elaborate. Otherwise, this video is going to be super long because I get off the beaten path and I start chatting it up and all that. And every time I've said, oh, I don't plan on this being a long video, it ends up being a long video, a long episode. It ends up being a super long episode. So, every photo holds energy, what we're feeling that day, and what your intention that you set before you go and do your photo shoot or video shoot, whatever kind of shoot you're doing, it's going to show in your work. And it's called energy, okay? Like I have spoke sort of on here and there about in one of my videos was working on your energy bank account. That's what I'm calling it. You should it's a continuous thing, just like in life. We can't always be happy. We can't always be full of good energy or, whatever the case is. We might be a little off. Some things you can try to do is, again, before the photo shoot, if you can, even if you have to do this in the car before the client gets there, try your best to calm down, maybe take a Zen moment, maybe do some breath work, maybe do a mini little meditation in your car. Doesn't matter where you're at in the world, you can still meditate. People, you could even be in, like, waiting to board a plane or whatever and still do a little meditation in your head, So do whatever you feel you need to do. So you could also try to change the vibe and the mood and your energy by maybe, like, if your client shows up full of good energy, you can be like, hey, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is you could try to change the vibe if your client, like, shows up and they're full of good energy. Maybe y'all kind of chat a little before the session begins and stuff like that. Or before the shoot, again, you can try to talk with the client and stuff like that. Intention setting. So set your intentions. Now, if your client shows up and they're kind of off, maybe they've had a terrible day, maybe something bad happened on their way to the shoot. The only thing I can say is to just try to do your best to pull through and still try to change the vibe and the energy and all that. Maybe talking with the client, like I said, before the shoot and stuff like that. What I like to try and do also is when you begin the photo shoot, sometimes they're a little weird because the client's like, like trying too hard. And usually, like, the first 10 photos are like super, like, instead of sitting normally, everybody wants to, like, like that. And you're like, no, just kind of, I always say, act like I'm not here, which I know is, you can't really do that. But if you have a long range lens, it helps. Because you can be way over there and just be like Tell the client, just act like I'm not even really here. Maybe help them with a few poses before, again, intention setting. So set your intentions internally, but just know that it's probably going to change. Number one. Number two, when the client arrives, try to set your intentions with the client. So what I like to try to do is maybe chit chat with them for a second. Ask, how their day is going and all that other stuff, like small talk. Like, the thing is, you're trying to ease the whole process, right? You're trying to make them feel calm and not so like stiff and, stuff like that. Because your photos, if they're stiff, and all that is going to show through the photo, right? So we've all seen some photos that somebody's taken and you're like, ugh, they look kind of like there's a rod shoved up, um, so yeah, anyways, I have down your energy will always show up in the final image, even if it's subtle. Okay? I'm just going to leave it like that. Number two, so that way we can move on, because I don't know that I have 5, but I don't know that I'll go through all of these. Sometimes I panic and I'm like, okay, I need to have a few like categories and then like have sometimes subcategories and then little blurbs. But anyways, you don't just take photos, you translate energy through your work, through the photos. We've all seen very flat photos, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, okay, if you've seen any like terrible quote unquote image, right, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever, you can upload a photo, we've all seen those like point and click photos, okay? I think I've sort of talked about what sets aside a good photographer versus someone who just points and clicks the camera, points and shoots, and calls himself a photographer, right? Yeah. Usually those are the ones that they'll have those little mini sessions or whatever, and they'll say, oh, mommy and me, I'm holding a mini session for mommy and me, or for Christmas time, or for fall time, or whatever time it is. And I've literally heard people say, oh, yeah, well, they're charging me, I don't know, like $600 or $1,000. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and you're paying for that? That is ridiculous. If somebody is holding a mini session and you're only getting like 20 photos or sometimes 10 photos and you paid $600, you're getting ripped off, people. Do your research. You see this phone? You could set up your little phone on a little tripod, or if you don't have a tripod, you can, rig something together and you can take just as good photos. And that's sad. That is sad. Anyways, you feel my energy right now. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm only like this because I'm just trying to kind of not hurry, but I am trying to kind of not get off the beaten path like I normally do. So, sorry. Anyways, photography is intuitive. Sometimes it's the in-between moments that are the most powerful. So those candid shots that you got of maybe the mom brushing her daughter's hair out of her face are some of the most golden shots that you can ever get for that family. So just think about it. Discuss the importance of emotional intelligence as a photographer. So reading energy, knowing when to capture, knowing when to guide, and when to just let the subject be. So, yes, knowing when to... I don't think I really even need to elaborate on that. Also, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can leave the comments below on, of course, YouTube. Again, I'm not sure about Apple. I haven't really looked into it. I think you can. And Spotify. Also, this is a different subject altogether. On Spotify, you can now upload video podcasts. So I've done it here and there. I don't know that I'm going to continue to do it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But anyways, reel it back in. Photography is as visuals as, wow, I'm getting tongue tied. Is visual spell work. So what I mean is you're not just snapping the shutter, you're not just pointing and shooting. You're almost like you're casting a spell per se. That can change someone, that can change how someone sees themselves. So, okay, I've done a few photo shoots where people are like, oh, well, can't you just edit that out? Or can't you just make me skinnier or make me tanner or whatever? Yeah, I could do all those things, but I'm not because, number one, you're not paying me to do that. I'm a photographer. I'm not a photo manipulator, even though I can be. I've definitely, done some crazy stuff in the past, but I'm not going to sit at my computer, especially now as a mom, and completely change your body. I'm not going to do that. So, that's a whole different subject. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. So kind of try to tie in how powerful a photo can be portrayed, or as a portal per se, a catalyst for confidence, transformation, or calling in aligned opportunities. Okay. So, this is the reason why I like to show up early, because I kind of look at my environment, like the location, the lighting, music, because some people can't just okay, so some moving shots. If you're doing a photo shoot of a couple, you don't want to just have every photo be stationary. You want some movement, you want some personality, you want some, whatever. So a lot of times if I'm doing photos for a couple, what I like to do is to ask them, just a few questions like, okay, where did you guys first meet? What was your first date? Where did y'all, how did y'all meet? How did y'all this or that? It could be a coffee shop. Okay, well, let's go to that coffee shop. Let's maybe set off to the side somewhere where there's maybe not a lot of people, because you don't want people looking at you. Or if it's the beach or the mountains, wherever. Maybe it was a vineyard. Something like that. You kind of want to take them back to where it all began, per se, right? And kind of maybe have a dancing shot. So if they can't just do a twirl, maybe they need some music, So try to just kind of keep stuff interesting, play with it a little. You'll be amazed at what you can actually get. And sometimes what I have done before in the past is I've done a video of a twirl, and later that day, whenever you're editing, I've kind of gotten a few shots from that, so that's just maybe you can kind of get some tips and tricks from this video. Hopefully this information is making sense. I feel like I kind of sort of black out whenever I'm just blabbing in these episodes. I'm like, what did I talk about? What did I say? Because some of the stuff I say that I didn't write down. So this is, I think, how I'm going to end this episode. Okay? So, like I said, throughout this episode, I really hope you've gained some information, some tips, some tricks. and stuff like that. You can kind of see how my energy is kind of up because mom life, trying to do 1,000 things all at once. That's just me. I take that on to myself. So anyways, if your photos feel off, it might not be the camera. It might just be the energy you're trying to force. Let your visions reflect who you truly are, not who you're trying to impress. I think that's a pretty powerful one because okay, if you're trying to force something, I think I kind of touched on this in my last episode. It's just not going to work, right? And if it does work, people are going to see that in your work. Hopefully that made sense. So I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. So if you're not having a good time, your client's not having a good time, your photos are not going to have a good time whenever you go to try to edit them and upload them and stuff like that. And also, too, if your client picks up on your bad energy, they're most likely going to leave that day, especially if they get their photos and they don't like their photos because they can tell their child wasn't having a good time, or maybe all the photos just look stiff and set up. They're probably not going to recommend you, number one. Word of mouth is your best seller. I don't care what kind of technology is available and all this other stuff. I know there's a lot of stuff out there that's available. Word of mouth is still, I truly believe in the word of mouth as like a seller, marketer, whatever you want to call it. They're probably not going to book with you again. They're probably not going to tell their friends, oh my God, so-and-so did my photos, because they're going to be embarrassed. They might even be like, if it's bad enough, they might even try to get some of their money back. Where, that's when if you don't have contracts or legalities set in stone, you're going to get taken advantage of. You could be getting, taken to court, stuff like that. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds serious. That's because it is serious. These things, what might be all fine and dandy and fun could quickly turn into a nightmare, right? So you just want to make sure you're protected as a photographer, especially if you're doing it even as a side hustle, even if you're not even making like that much profit. I still had a contract and, a little questionnaire that I would send my clients. So that way they would know, okay, well, and I even did that even before doing the LLC and all that. So anyways, basically you just want to have some things in place to cover your butt. CYA, right? So yeah, all that to say, you just want to try your best to change the narrative, change the story, reset your intentions, even if you have to do it 20 times. So yeah, and if, like I said, if the client knows you're not having a good time, they're most likely going to get those photos and be like, oh, that was a shitty time, and I even paid for it. So, yes, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I hope everybody got something from this episode. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm going to end it with this, and there's a storm coming. Did you hear that? Did you hear that outside? I'm going to end with this. Your energy is the real brand. You're just the catalyst, right? Hopefully I'm not talking with my hand too much. And the camera just translates it. Think about that one, people. Again, I hope you all have a great week. I will see you all next week. And yeah, again, I've been having an amazing time. This podcast is not monetized or anything like that. I don't gain any royalties. Maybe one day, who knows? That's not my intention. My intention setting is not to just be a content creator, basically, or, a YouTuber or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm never going to monetize my videos and stuff like that, because, yes, I am setting aside my personal time that I could be doing other things, to do this, but it's only because I've been having an amazing time with this. I don't know, it's hard to describe. Maybe I'll try to sit down and put into words. Maybe I'll do an episode about it. But yes, if this all resonated with you, if you got some information and you feel compelled, please share this with anybody that you think could use this information. Maybe they need to hear it. Maybe they need the tips and tricks or the information that you gained from it. And yeah, so share it with other photographers, beginners or not, doesn't matter. But yeah, everybody have a great week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!